All right, so now we're going to work on our puppy. Bring him back in. You notice that we can turn on or off the visibility of any of these layers, just like in Illustrator. We're going to we're going to take our flower and move it out of the way here. And we're going to take our puppy, pull him in, and we're going to zoom in on him a little bit. And this is a little bit of a low-res image. I probably wouldn't really use this one, but I want to already have it, and I want to show you a couple of things with it. With this, we can use our magic wand tool, but you can see that it's not exactly going to be the best choice, right? It doesn't do much for us. We could use the polygonal lasso tool, but the thing is, like, this is such a furry, like, not hard line edge around the puppy that we really need a better tool than the magic wand and the lasso to get this kind of fuzzy edge. So what I would recommend is using the eraser tool here and simply turning the hardness down. If you turn the hardness down, then we can get this sort of fuzzy edge, and we can use that fuzzy edge to erase. Erase a little too much there, but that's fine. To erase our material here. Now you want to make sure that you don't end up leaving, like, see that right there? That's called artifact material. So you want to get rid of all this kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that as you're working, you really get rid of all the things that that you don't need. I can, just like in Illustrator, I can make any paintbrush or eraser tool larger or smaller, or any tool that works off of this circle idea, right? Off of a brush size, using the bracket keys on the keyboard, the keys that are directly above the return key on the keyboard. So you'll see me doing that. And this is essentially how we would clean up this image. I would probably go in here and be a little bit more precise with it. And then eventually that will give us much more of a fuzzy edge. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'll just go ahead and... Alright, I'm going to go back. I'm going to harden that up so I can just get rid of this extra material here. And then I'm going to show you how to put these together. So again, obviously very quick. I'm not really worried about my edges necessarily there. So, okay, now we have our puppy and our flower. We have to start arranging them and figuring out where we want them to go, what size they should be, what orientation we should have them in, all that kind of stuff. And the way we do that is by using a free transform. So free transform is under Edit. Where did they put that? Oh, they moved it. There it is. Sorry. So under Edit, Transform, and Free Transform is right above it. Free Transform is essentially all of these things right here. So I always just use Command T, and what that does is it gives us the bounding box around whatever image we are currently selected in over here in our layers. And this allows us to move the image, which, you know, of course, we could do that with the Move tool. So it allows us to move the image. It allows us to make the image smaller or larger. So we want it to be smaller. And then I'm going to make him coming out of our top right-hand corner up here. So we can rotate. If we hover around the corner and get the bent arrow here, we can rotate. And make him bigger. And move him up. And that looks good. I can always come back and Command T, make him smaller if I want to, rotate him back out, move him into whatever other area. Doesn't really matter. Then I'm going to go to my flower here. I'm going to use my move tool to move it up. I'm going to Command T, get my bounding box. I'm going to shrink it down. Move it to, I don't know, let's say right here. And then I'm going to set that. So you have to set your transformation every time. I did this with a puppy. I just forgot to mention it. With the return key on the keyboard. So that is how you get out of free transform and set it. So I'm going to hit enter. If you are in free transform and you do something you hate, like accidentally press the shift key and squish the proportions, right? You can just hit the escape key on the keyboard and it will pop right out of transform and put it back to the way it was. Okay, so essentially we're going to be using the move tool to move things around, the marquee tool to bring images from their original image into our document. We're going to be using the lasso tool and the magic wand tool to make selections in addition to the marquee tool here. We're going to be using the eraser tool as well to erase, and then the zoom tool to move around. And then of course free transform, which is under edit and right above transform here. So free transform. Okay, so that's all the tools we're going to learn for this first assignment. And you're going to be opening up images, bringing more images into this document, and then saving. Saving is the only thing we need to know now. So saving is super simple. You just want to go to File, Save As. You want to save it to the desktop like normal. Call it Cut and Paste. And make sure that it saves as a .psd. That's Photoshop document. And we're going to click Save. And then it should be on our desktop. And that's all you'll need. So work with that. This will be due in 1 week. And let me know if you have any questions.